You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello. Welcome to Achtung Millwall, dear listeners, the voicemail show, follow-up to yesterday's edition. Apologies for the slight delay in this part 2, a slight schedule to keep to yesterday, but what a wonderful weekend to be a Millwall fan. I don't know about you, I'm still basking in the afterglow of that Friday night performance at home to Norwich City. I think everyone is judging by the social media content. So we've got a good array of contributions from a global army of contributors now. Increasing numbers are sending in voicemails. I love it. Big thank you to everyone that sent stuff in for this show, and I hope listeners out there will continue to to help make this show very much the voice of fans. Here we are on Sunday, New Year's Eve. We've got another game tomorrow, which is the away trip, probably much colder kind of atmosphere, a bleak New Year's trip to Bristol, but that will complete the Christmas programme, so to speak. And it's been a pretty good one from the Millwall perspective. 2 draws recently, 2 wins now, and most importantly for me, a performance. Friday night's performance is the thing that I think has really set the Mill scene abuzz. But before we get into the voicemails today, we do, of course, have our Pundit Games question. Incidentally, big thank you to Pundit. We're trying to organise a small donation to the Lions Food Hub shortly. I'm still in contact with Pundit. We're going to announce how much money's been made out of the sales this Christmas of the Pundit trivia game. I just think it's a great arrangement. We get some great questions to ask before the show, each edition, and the Lions Food Hub gets a little donation out of it. And if you bought one at Christmas, I want to say a big thank you to you. Birthday presents, whatever you like through the year, special occasions. Why not get together with your mates and have a Pundit trivia question game? It's a great ball game. But just to give you a little taste of what kind of questions you get, this is a question from the Premier League in the 1990s, the English Premier League. This is a Tottenham legend who managed 37 goals in the Premier League alongside a handsome 68 assists from his position on the right wing. I think you're going to get it as soon as I say this next sentence. He became known as Sick Note for his persistent injuries, though. He was stayed fit enough to earn 30 caps for England, earning 7 goals. Started his career at Portsmouth, 62 appearances for Pompey, 7 goals, made his name really at Spurs, 1992 to 2004 for Tottenham Hotspur, 299 appearances and 34 goals for Tottenham. Then Birmingham, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and he finished his career at AFC Bournemouth, 12 goals for the Cherries, 2006 to 2008. English national team pick 30 times between 1994 and 2001, 7 goals for the English national team. Called Sick Note. You've got it already. I know you've got it. We'll have the answer at the end of today's show, though, dear listeners, if you are struggling with that. Voicemail show. Let's go for our first one. Who we got first? Let's have a quick look. The Dropbox accounts arrange them all in alphabetical order, and that's as good an order as any. So we're going to kick off with a first-time caller, which is Adam Coyne. Adam Coyne, let's have a listen to Adam.
Hey Nick, Adam Coyne calling in after the Norwich game. I've been wanting to do a voice message for a while now, but I felt today I couldn't put it off any longer. Today we massively got our Millwall back. It felt like atmosphere was rocking. I've left the den buzzing for the first time in a long time. Just all around good performance from everyone. Probably not perfect, but I think probably the best we've seen for a while. The passing looked good. The team had their heads up. Felt like they were a bit more confident after that win on Boxing Day. I think everyone gave everything they had out there. They were all trying hard and everyone just looked absolutely knackered at the end. When I saw the team sheet, I think a bit disappointed that Fleming was starting and Watman was dropped, but maybe that again just due to fitness and the number of games. But I felt Fleming had one of his better starts for a while. So not really too disappointed once we saw that game kicking off. I think Emaku has to start every game now. He's proved that he's got what it takes. He made a few mistakes, I think, a few bad decisions with passing or where he went down a bit too easy. But again, that's just going to come with game time, and if he doesn't get that, he's not going to get the chance. I'm not going to talk about the ref because this will be 20 minutes long. I think everyone else will probably cover that anyway. But yeah, Bradshaw, again, you put the ball in the box along the floor, he's going to put it in the back of the net. So he's keeping Nisbet away from the team, which is really, really good to see. So yeah, I think only criticism, if there's anything, we've got to stop that long throw in. It just doesn't work. It just drives me mad. And we've got to stop free kicks into Cooper because he just gets manhandled and never wins it. But yeah, massive 3 points, absolutely buzzing. And what an atmosphere. Come on, you Lions.
Huge thank you, Adam. Keep them coming, mate. Keep them coming. I enjoyed that voice note. If you want a voicemail and get on the show, dear listeners, there's 2 ways you can do it. The easy way, if you're on Twitter, on X, as you have to call it now, send me a direct message. My messages are open, but not for any old, tosh. Send me nice Millwall messages. There's a little sound option on the direct message. Bottom right, I think it is. You can do it. I think about 2 minutes 20 is the maximum you can get on Twitter. If you do want to send me anything more in depth or anything longer than that, give me a shout and we can exchange mobile numbers because you can get longer with WhatsApp messages. So, but big thank you to Adam. Great to hear from you, mate. Yeah, atmosphere. Wow. I think I said on the other show, speaking to Ben yesterday, Ben Anthony. Walking away, I was walking towards Canada Water Station after the game, and I was walking through the Silwood estate, and off in the distance you could still hear Millwall chants going, the monk chant going, echoing around the streets of Bermondsey. And it's been a long while, dear listeners, since I've heard that. I bet you would say the same too. But of course it wasn't a perfect performance. I think you're right there, Adam. I also criticised we're getting chances, but we weren't finishing them. It's great to get 1 goal in front, but it just felt like a bit of a tight lead for long stretches, and the second goal would have felt a lot more comfy. I thought we looked defensively solid. Make you right about Imaku. I really liked his pace, and he is a youngster, still learning. His decision making will improve with the coaching that I think is going to be the trademark of Joe Edwards. Yeah, we've got a Millwall back. I think that's the cliche that's doing the rounds online, and I'll make it right. I do agree, before we move along, I do agree about the long throws. I'm not sure of the value of our long throws. The Norwich equivalent on Friday night, they had a player that could throw it with a bit more lower flight, lower trajectory. I had a drink last night, I'm sorry, I think I'm probably still under the influence. Trajectory. And it came in at pace, and that's what I'd like to see. I think both Ryan Leonard and Zian loop it up high, and then it's coming downwards out of, almost like a howitzer style, but with no power. So yeah, I'll make it. I think we need other options on that front, and I'm being very picky about the finishing. But we're starting to get to a level now where we can start to get more picky. Big thank you to Adam Coyne. Next up, let's have a listen to Angelo, show regular Angelo Miliotto.
Hi Nick, Angelo here mate, just got home from the game. I'll try and keep this brief because I think you're going to be busy tonight with a lot of happy Millwall fans, mate. Tonight was complete value for money, mate. Great evening, got our money's worth, fantastic atmosphere. It was like the Den from a few years back. It was nasty. The team, every single one of them players was outstanding tonight, mate. Every single one of them, mate. My man of the match is between Honeyman and the mountain Murray Wallace, mate. Murray Wallace was so composed on the ball tonight. The more he gets slagged off and by the majority of the fan base, that he just keeps coming back, doesn't he? Fantastic, mate. Honestly, he was so composed tonight. Imaku made great decisions tonight. Great decisions, that's where we're, with Imaku, it's not on the pitch we need to train him, we need to train him in the classroom, mate. And tonight, he made so many great decisions, and Bradshaw, fantastic. That goal was a Premiership quality breakaway goal. Fantastic. From Fleming to Imaku, and then the great run from Cuffy. Fantastic, mate. Brilliant. And then obviously when that Ashley Barnes lost his head, brilliant, mate. Absolutely fucking brilliant tonight. Enjoyed every single minute of it. Obviously, my heart was popping out of my coat the last 8 minutes of that injury time. And the only blip of the night, obviously, Saville, which is a great shame. But 7 points out of 9, last 3 games, fucking brilliant, mate. Just a shame about Saville, but what can you do, mate? The team just looked great tonight. Anyway, I'll leave it at that because I know you're going to be busy tonight. Fantastic. Millwall, well done. Joe Edwards, well done. All the players, brilliant. The fans, brilliant. Great evening. Enjoyed it thoroughly. Value for money. Catch you later, Nick. Cheers, bye.
Seconded, thirded, Angelo. It was a great night, and I think it was interesting. It's probably, I mean, the QPR game was a grind of a performance. It was a 1-0 win, same scoreline, of course, but it didn't have the same kind of turning point quality. I don't know if I'm overcooking it here, listeners. Do tell me if you think I'm overplaying it. But I just felt that things clicked on Friday night versus Norwich. They were a decent side. I mean, I know it's, Angelo's mentioned there the whole Ashley Barnes pantomime, which is wonderful. That's what really got the crowd going. That's why we go to follow Millwall. We're not at Charlton. We're not following Leyton Orient. We're following Millwall because those are the kinds of turning point moments that littered through everyone's Millwall years, career, whatever you want to call it. Certainly over mine. You get these little moments of injustice or whatever way you want to look at it, and it just ignites the crowd. It's like throwing a match onto petrol and a whoosh off it goes, and that's how it was Friday night. I mean, I think I'd make you right about Murray Wallace. What a Millwall player! What a Millwall player, listeners. Murray Wallace is, as Angelo's put it there. And I've made similar points. I mean, I'm catch myself sometimes being a bit condescending towards Murray. I'm saying, he's a good, committed player, but he's a bit League One in his limitations. I think is my favourite choice of words. But I put my hand up. He's ramming those that condescension back down the throats of those that are coming out with that stuff, and I include myself because I'm honest. He stood up big and strong on Friday night, and Mountain Murray is a good description. I like Honeyman. He was in the face of that Ashley Barnes, along with Sav. Come back to Sav in a moment. But yeah, Honeyman, he's the little horrible little bloke that wants to mouth at you in the pub and get under your skin, and so he did with Ashley Barnes, and that is the key to. I mean, I think that's one of the wonderful things about what I took away from that performance Friday night, dear listeners. I made this point with Ben that I don't think Gary Rowett was ever comfortable with that fundamental trait of Millwall, that ability to bring down the high and mighty. Because that's an expensive Norwich side, I've mentioned before the player that came into the game who did us damage up there at Carrow Road, Josh Sargent, is €9.5 million worth of player, so they've got players at a level that we can't afford. But the great leveller is, of course, Zampa Road when George Honeyman and George Saville are working over a player that can't handle the heat. That's going to be, if it's done in the right way and it's done controlled, and we can't afford to get many red cards, coming back to Sav, but if it's done right, then that's the key to progress. And I think it's wonderful that I get a sense that Joe Edwards likes that, and it's a big step forwards because that's really that was the next level that Gary Rowett probably struggled to get to, because I think he's a good manager, but he doesn't trust the uncontrollable, and then it's the ultimate uncontrollable element. George Saville, yeah, I mean, as I'm speaking today, and it was announced on the social media this morning, the FA have not overturned that red card because it's they don't say it's a Millwall factor, but I believe it probably is, because when you watch the challenge back again, no way is that a straight red card challenge. It's got to be a dangerous challenge to get a straight red. We all know how it works. In real time, when I was in the den in the Millwall chaos, I thought, actually, just genuinely thought it was a second yellow, and maybe Sav had been booked earlier on. I'd missed it. In which case, I thought, okay, second yellow card, yeah, all right. If he's carrying one, he does that, takes one for the team, so to speak. But for it to be a straight red card was a bent decision, and it's a bent appeal, in my opinion, dear listeners, because that was no way a inordinately dangerous challenge. Anyway, there we are. So that's news, hot news this morning, and I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon now. Anyway, let's move along. Next one up, we're going to go with Bobby. Cheeky chappy Bobby. Let's have a listen to Bobby.
Good evening, Nick. Merry Christmas. This is Bobby T here. Just got back from the den, and let me just tell you, right, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. that was the real old Millwall back. That was the old Millwall in the second half anyway. Great 3 points, 6 points out of the last two. And I'm going to begin with, little pointers here and now and here. The pointers of the game, what I saw. Right. First thing, that was no way a red card. Right. He wasn't the last man. The referee was shocking tonight. Right. Savile now, red card. I just don't actually get that, really. Really, flabbergasted. Oh, sorry, Nick just got off there. Let me continue because you can really edit this out. So, yeah, as I was saying, red card out of nowhere. And Ashley Barnes, I saw on Twitter, obviously on Achtung Millwall. Ashley Barnes, what happened there? Red card. Referee was shocking tonight. Anyway, don't really care. That was the real Millwall fighting for each other. Man of the match, they gave it to Honeyman. I like it about Honey in the morning. But Honeyman, yeah, in the midfield, he actually scared the Norwich players. Great Honeyman, but every single player. And our back four now, Nick. For me, our back four, they said slow. Hutchinson done all right today. Harden, was he injured? Don't know. But Murray Wallace is a baller. Last week and today, yeah, Brian's probably better than him, but a baller. Murray Wallace, yes, slow League One, but he's still a great fullback. Yeah, again, Bobby T here again, mate. Sorry, I'm going to do all in one. So, yeah, as I was saying, our best player, Lenny Dog, back four, Leonard, immense tonight, everywhere. And I think, that's all. Bradshaw. I keep on saying Bradshaw, too slow, League One. He runs everywhere like a chicken and all that, headless, runs for nothing. But I think he's better than Lee Gregory, and he's at the right place at the right time. Sir Tom Bradshaw, I love you, run everywhere, great finish, better than Gregory. And for me, you're everywhere and a great striker. Nisbet, you've got to prove yourself. And, what else there is there to say, basically, than what a great result. Now onto the negative side. For me, Fleming, he done the most amazing pass of the whole game. And I still think he's too slow. Slow, hasn't got any ideas, confidence shot to pieces. Watmore should have started. And Amaku, another one. He lacks confidence running at players. Young, but he feels sorry for himself. He set up the goal with Norton Coffey. We've got to buy Nick in January. Come New Year's Day, we've got to buy him from Arsenal, Coffey. Anyway, back to Amaku. All I say is Amaku. He's lost the confidence, but he runs and he started well tonight. Come off. But for me, Bradshaw, right time, right place. Watmore should have started. And that's it, basically. We grinded out the result. Jerd Woodeye, we trust. Roll on to Bristol City. And that's it. Merry Christmas, Nick. Happy New Year. And Millwall is fighting to stay in this league. No one likes us. We don't care. Good night from Bobby. Oh, sorry. One more thing, Nick. If you can just edit this as a thing. I totally forgot about this. We were slagging off at him 3 or 4 days ago about Sartic in goal. But for me tonight, the way he saw the game and he calmed all our defenders down, he made one good save and all that. For me, I'm growing to like Matijek Sarkic. He's our number one. He was cool and calm, one save. He just kept it calm, played out from the back. He read the game, basically. I love Bart. But yeah, for me, Sartic, 2 clean sheets. We are now going to be mid-table. Good night from...
I think that message cut off at the end there, Bobby. Big thank you, mate, for your contribution. It's interesting how opinions in football can vary. I thought Imarku did brilliantly well the other night. The ball through to Brooke Norton Cuffey on the right side I thought was top class, and he brought real energy. I suppose what you might have in mind was that shot on target, and it was on target, the near post shot at the start of the second half, where maybe the ball was across the face of the goal, because I believe Bradshaw and one other, it might have been Honeyman, were lurking, maybe Fleming, can't remember. That's a decision. I suppose that's going to come with time with him, Mark. I've got a lot of time for the boy, Bobby, to be honest with you. And the same, what you mentioned, Tom Bradshaw. So Tom Bradshaw, I think that's a nice way to start the New Year's honours list. We'll knight him. Watmore was rested, and I think the sheer pace of football, we're back at it again tomorrow, aren't we, at Bristol? So I can get why Watmore's rested. I believe, from what I read, Wes Harding was carrying a knock because he weren't even on the substitutes bench, so it wasn't available. Let's hope he's back and available and sitting on the bench or starting as Joe Edwards sees fit. I think Joe Edwards' approach, and we've touched on this already, is going to be that. Well, it's going to need to be to rotate the squad, and it may. One of the cliches of football is that you don't change a winning side. It may well be that Joe has to, because of the fatigue and injuries, and as we've now got with Jules Saville, suspensions and so on. But make you right about Sarkic too, Bobby. Big thank you there, Bobby T, Mr. Cheeky. Let's have a look now listen now to Dave Baccarini, all the way from Australia.
Wow, Nick, Dave here from sunny Australia. What a performance. Just picture this, I'm getting up at 3:45am in the dark and bleary-eyed, then glued to the TV, watching a tense game with all the atmosphere of the old den. Then at 5:30am, as the sun rises, we win, and I'm dancing in my underpants, singing Rocking to the World, and trying to not wake up the missus. Wow, best game of the season. On to some discussion. First thing, what a great overall performance by all players. Everybody put it on the line and lots of tackles. The defence was back to its best and there were glimpses of Edward ball. For the second game in a row, everybody played and there were quite a few candidates for man of the match, which I'll go into in a minute. Next point I want to make, Edward showed some of his tactical nous. Against QPR, we had a high press. Against Norwich, we pressed at the halfway line, and he gave the reason in his post-match interview. Finally, this was a great Millwall atmosphere, and I think it was due to three key ingredients. The first one, we had a pantomime villain. Barnes played it in perfectly, and once there's someone we hate, that gets the crowd going. Then, on top of that, we had the pantomime dame in gaudy orange, the worst referee I've seen in ages, and clearly lost control. And the third thing that gets the crowd going is an all-team effort where you can see they're sweating blood. Finally, a couple of players I'd like to highlight. Norton Cuffy, really consistent. Wallace, Mr. Dependable. And finally, my man of the match, and quickly becoming my favourite player, was Honeyman. He showed great leadership in directing players, geeing up when they did something good and giving them a bollocking when they didn't. After the game, I wish I was there and off to the pub. However, being 6am in the morning, I put the kettle on. Come on, you Lions.
Fantastic stuff from Dave out there in sunny Australia. I missed off the sunny part. It's on my never been to Australia, Dave. It's on my bucket list, mate. So you're doing a good job for the Australian tourist authorities out there. 3:45am and then 5:30am, singing and dancing. That's great stuff. Lovely stuff. Wonderful night. You know, it was, as we've said a few times, it was proper old-fashioned Millwall. My overriding buzz coming away from the Den Friday night, as I've said a couple of times now, but I'll say it again, is that this seems to be what Joe Edwards is trying to get us back to, and he's going to do it, I hope. We saw a little bit on Friday with good quality Millwall committed defending and good fast flowing attacking football, such as we saw with that goal, which was a wonderful move, top draw move. Huge thank you, Dave Baccarini. I think you're in Perth, mate, aren't you? That's one of the places in the world I've got to get over to. Let's have a listen now to another one of our Australian listeners. It's Dean Vazic. Take it away, Dean.
G'day, Nick. Dean from Australia here. Managed to get up early to watch that brilliant 1-0 win. Probably unlucky not to win 2 or 3. The goalkeeper pulled off a couple fantastic saves. Obviously, that referee lost complete control of that game in the second half. But, the things we were able to control, we certainly did. I thought we held our shape really well throughout the course of the game. I thought Zion Fleming coming in, he really did a job, was able to drop back as well and played a part in the first goal. Amoku yeah, I mean, what can you say about him? There's a lot of talent about him. Even that first goal was just a very smart play. Just stayed patient with the ball and was able to lay it off to Norton Cuffy, who put in a brilliant cross for Bradshaw to finish off. A hint of offside, but who cares? At the end of the day, we'll take the goal and the 3 points. Another clean sheet. I thought, particularly early. I thought struggling defensively. They look like they were getting over the back of us, and they were able to break us down through the channels as well a couple of times. But we adjusted really quick, and were able to hang on towards the end of the game. Probably lost our composure a couple of times trying to get Barnes sent off. But that referee that sending off of George Saville was absolutely. I don't understand that. That's never a red card. That's a professional foul. That's a yellow card every day of the week. But like I said at the start, the things we were able to control, we certainly did. And I can't remember Sarkic really having to be involved and make a save, to be honest. So, yeah, fantastic 3 points. We're certainly playing better football under Edwards than we were under Rowett. We're certainly being a lot more patient. And Norwich, even though they had 65 possession, they were just playing the ball in the middle of the ground a lot. They weren't really doing much. They weren't damaging us. So, we're able to get the game on our terms a lot of the time. So, yeah, fantastic 3 points, and go the Lions. Thanks, Nick. Keep up the good work.
Cheers, Dean, and big shout out to all of our Australian listeners. We get quite a few from Australia, get quite a few from around the world, but Australia is one of the particularly large, I suppose for obvious reasons, bastions of listeners for Achtung. Also, I want to say a big shout out to all of our Aussie listeners out there. I make you right about the ref, Dean. I think the referee got carried away with the den, didn't he? We've said already about Ashley Barnes losing the plot. And I think the referee got overwhelmed by it all. It was a huge atmosphere once the panto began, and it takes it finds the stress points of every individual on the pitch, and the referee, I think, was found out. One thing I did like, we haven't really, you touched on it there actually, Dean, is the fact that we seem to be developing. And I'm going to guess this is Joe Edwards and Andy Myers' footballing experience, but the ability to try and adjust in game to match where threats and opponents are coming at us. That's wonderful stuff. I mean, this is all a new world for us at the Den, isn't it? So rather than being out there with a rigid approach that we stick to, which I think was probably one of the downfalls of the Gary Rowett era, we do seem to be approaching games in a more flexible way now. So horses for courses, as the saying goes. So that's great stuff. So yeah, big hats off there to Joe Edwards for what he seems to be doing with the club. I think first time on Friday, I think we started to see what the potential is of the Joe Edwards era. Let's hope it can continue. We've got a big game tomorrow, as we've said, at Bristol. But let's have a listen now to another show regular. It's Jim Hackett. Let's have a listen to Jim.
Good morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. The morning after a night where we got a deserved result and a performance that I think everybody's been waiting for to happen for quite a while now. The game itself, I think we did get what we deserved out of it. We could have probably scored 2 or 3 more goals, and I can't really remember them having too many opportunities to create any danger against us. Although they looked like they were decent, Norwich. They had a lot of the ball, but they had a lot of it in the areas where it didn't really hurt us, and when they did try, I don't think they got too much joy. I think a couple of times they got in behind, but it was a rare occurrence, and overall a fantastic performance. I thought really well disciplined from start to finish. Sarkic suddenly looks like a keeper in form. The back four I thought were rock solid tonight, and how lovely for Murray to have such a good game in such a high pressure game as well. So well done to him, and obviously the others. Hutch come back in, didn't look like he'd missed a beat. Suddenly he looked full of life and full of energy, and Cooper, you could just see what a mountain he was tonight against Ashley Barnes. So a really good back four performance. The midfield sort of going across, again, that they all did their job. But I think it's interesting that Honeyman's gone into that centre midfield position alongside Saville, and he's like a fly. He just buzzes everywhere, and he is, I think, what we've been missing for quite a while. But I think he helps Saville because he does a lot of the running, and now Sav's out after that red card. I think it's been interesting to see who goes in there with Honeyman, because I think it's now a Honeyman position alongside other players, because I think the way he's played the last couple of games has been fantastic, and he really sets a tone for energy and getting the team going. So very happy with him. And then the rest from the Fleming, I thought probably his best game this season. I thought he looked quality today. I thought I was disappointed when he came off, but at the same time he'd really put a shift in. The quality he had with the ball was great. He just slipped little passes in, and especially to Marco, a couple of times that again we got the goal from the first of them, and then we could have had something from the second. So really happy for Fleming and Marco. Again, his time will come. I think it's experience with him where he just needs a little bit more, and he'll make the right decisions sometimes. But overall, I thought all of them, and Bradshaw as well with his goal. But just a really good, solid performance tonight, and I think it's something we've all been waiting for. You've got to credit Edwards, because at the end of the day, he's the one who picks the team. And when I saw that he'd left Watmore and Bryan out, probably like everybody else, I was a little bit surprised. But again, the end result was he ended up with a team that sort of fought their way through, dealt with Norwich's start, the first 10, 15 minutes, and then after that, I thought we looked comfortable. I didn't think Norwich were going to damage us. The only thing that was going to damage us was the referee, who I wouldn't normally comment about referees, but I thought tonight, or last night, that guy was absolute disgrace. For him to do what he did, he kept his hands in his pockets first half, and I thought it's a little bit iffy because he was letting a lot go, and then all of a sudden from the second half, from the first whistle, he was off, and he was card happy, and everybody was getting it. And obviously he sent Saville off. I think there's two trains of thought there. I think if you look at it objectively, then you're going to say that Sav sort of was a bit obvious in what he was doing, and it would have only took them maybe an inch or two somewhere else, and the lad could have been seriously injured. So for that sort of tackle, I'll swallow a red card, because it was meant with the best of feelings in terms of just stopping the attack. But the other side of it had been against one of our players. I think we'd have been saying, we'd have been looking for a red. So as disappointed as I am for it, the bigger disappointment is that Saville's going to miss 3 games now. So somehow Edwards has got to come up with a formula that's going to work there. But it's what it is. But the referee was a disgrace. Some of the stuff he was given, the handball he missed in the area where the lad actually leaned into the ball with his upper arm, and then where I think it was, I'm trying to think who got whacked on the way. I think Bradshaw got knocked over by somebody as we were breaking, and again the referee did nothing about it at all. I think the whole second half performance of the referee left a bitter taste, and if they'd have got something out of it, I think things might have kicked off a little bit. But overall, it's a bit sort of churlish to go on about the referee, but looking at the game as a whole, we got what we deserved out of it. Joe Edwards got something out of the game. Let's hope moving forward that this is the standard we can expect, from home games especially. But I'm now looking forward to the game against Bristol City, just see what we do. And again, we head into the new year and we're not in too bad shape looking at the table. So come on, you Lions.
We thank you, Jim. Always insightful analysis by Jim Hackett. Interesting about the sending off, actually. I thought it was harsh, but there we are. We're going to go around the mulberry bush with that one. The FA have upheld the 3-game suspension, so it does raise the interesting question as to who comes in. I mean, the obvious choice I would have thought would be Billy. Listeners, I don't know. I doubt that Joe Edwards will want to bring Ryan Leonard forward, so he's from a position where he's been doing so well, although he's a makeshift right back, really, isn't he? But anyway, he's really looked in control. The back 4 looked rock solid. Sarkic we've mentioned a few times, but the whole back 4, Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, Sean Hutch and Ryan Leonard, does rather pick itself for what could be a difficult trip down to Ashton Gate. So I'm going to guess it's between Billy and Alan Campbell. Should we say that name in polite company, dear listeners? I don't know. He was on the bench the other night. It had not appeared on the Boxing Day card at all. So it's going to be an interesting choice for Joe Edwards. Just one other thing that occurs to me as I'm thinking about the Jules Saville suspension. I mean, obviously it's a 3-game suspension, so that takes in tomorrow. Does it take in the Leicester game, the FA Cup game? Which would be a bit of a result if it does, if you like, because it's just one fixture after that. If that's the second of the three, rightly or wrongly, I think we're probably all getting into the mindset that the FA Cup is a lesser focus for the Lions this season than the league. So anyway, we'll see. We'll find out, I guess, next week. So there you are. Big thank you, Jim Hackett. Let's go for one of my favourite contributors, is Joe from Chicago. Let's have a listen to Joe.
All right, it's Joe from Chicago, just basking in the glory that is a Millwall win over Norwich. Something we rarely ever experience, especially with that useless Dean Whitestone at referee. What a terrible job. Just saw the Saville replay. It's a yellow. I saw that happen once at the lowest level of college soccer in the United States, and even that ref afterwards was like, I screwed up. Horrible. Whatever. Come on, you Lions. What a win. We never beat Norwich. This was the type of game we'd lose, and we pulled it off. Just sensational. Keep Amaku and Norton Cuffey in the starting lineup and keep them going as long as they can. Those two are sensational. Obviously, Saville gets screwed, but just a complete team performance. And it's nice to see Cooper have that edge alongside Hutchinson again. Wes Harding brings a lot, but Hutchinson brings out the best in Cooper. And that's very nice to see. Wow. Come on, you Lions. I really hate Ashley Barnes, too. What a useless, balding prick. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Joe. Yeah, I make you right about Ashley Barnes. He really lost the plot there, didn't he, in the heat of the action. Mentioned Hutchinson. Sean Hutchinson actually is a good call, because I don't think any of us have really said how well Hutch did the other night. And when he came back previously, I thought he looked a bit rusty. Maybe one or two question marks of whether he's still got it. Well, yes, he has, because that was a particularly, as Joe puts it there, a 10 performance. I like that expression. I'm going to nick that, Joe. Imarku we've mentioned a few times. BNC, Brooke Norton Cuffey, what a player. We mustn't fall in love with him though, listeners. He's a holiday romance. You're going to get to go home at the airport. You're going to say how much you love each other, but he's going to go away. He's going to go to the glitter and the marble halls, if they still have them, of Arsenal. At the end of the season, but a great run. That was a lung-busting Olympic level sprint to make that shot come. Well, it was a cross, wasn't it? Not a shot. It was a beautiful ball in for Tom Bradshaw to slot home there. Big thank you, Joe, out there in Chicago. Let's have a listen now to Lawrence Binney.
All right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here. Who said Christmas has finished? What a lovely post 25th December present, and that performance was I thought that performance had everything that we've lacked, I think, for about a good couple of years now, really, as well as Gary's done for us. We had grit, we had determination, we had pace, we pressed Norwich, a very technically good side, played very well on the counter, and we had arsehole today. We had tons of character. It was a shame to see Saville sent off at the end, but I kind of feel like that's what the Den's been lacking for a bit, is someone to just sort of make a sort of vain, slightly pyrrhic gesture, sort of to kind of show how much it means to play for this club and what it means to succeed at this club. It's the sort of performance I haven't really seen, or not seen too much of since Harris was here. And I think Gary was a better manager than Neil Harris was, but I think Neil Harris, more than anyone else, since the early Jacket days, really understood what it meant to organise a Millwall team, and we saw that in abundance today. Won't go on too much about the tactics and the roles that players play, because that's not really important. It just felt good. It just felt good to be a Millwall supporter today. It felt like we were unified as a fan base for the first time in a long time. I will give mentions in dispatches to a few players. So I will say, Isamayo Mako, what a talent he is. Again, very raw, but he just scares the life out of defenders, and he gets it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's one moment in the second half where he ran a good 30 yards to close down a player to win a throw, and the crowd really reacted to that, and refreshing, lovely to see. Fleming again, I think, looks a lot better. He's starting to look a bit more like the player he was last season. Looked a bit more dynamic. Should have scored his chance to make it 2-0, which I think really would have put the game to bed. I also want to talk about the defence collectively. I think I was a bit harsh on them after the Stoke game. Sort of said, well, Stoke aren't very good going forward anyway, so what does it matter? I think today we were against a side that does have a lot of attacking talent, and we limited them to, I can't really think of anything actually, in the second half at least. I was told by my dad that they had a few chances in the first 10 minutes. I was a bit late and the turnstiles were congested, but I can't remember them really working Sarkic at all. So yeah, fantastic win. We move on to the Bristol City game away, and they're in good form, so we're going to have a similar level of commitment again. And then Leicester in the Cup, and then Middlesbrough at home on the 13th. Buzzing. What a way to start your weekend, a New Year weekend at that. Come on, you Lions. Cheers, Nick. See ya.
Cheers, Lawrence. It does leave you feeling good over the weekend, listeners, doesn't it? I think, like probably everyone listening to this show, you kind of forget. You get used to being miserable from a football perspective. I mean, hopefully you don't let that spill out into your personal life in any way, but it does weigh you down a bit. And irrationally, I understand how trivial football is in the bigger picture of cosmic affairs. But it does leave you feeling floating on a high on a weekend where hopefully people are enjoying themselves, getting out for a few drinks, and the New Year's looming. So wonderful stuff. I'll make you right about that run and tackle from Idemo. I'd forgotten. Now you mention it again. It was one of those uplifting moments. I think that's what I love about the boy. He is a Millwall player. He will give you 100%. He's got some talent and he's got some speed, but he's also, more than that, got the arsehole that you describe. He will get stuck in. He enjoys the battle. He's an Irishman. He wants to get stuck in there. He's a strong, good-looking player, and I really like him. I've got a lot of time for Idemo Marku. Pity that Fleming missed that chance. He missed it. It was a decent save, actually. It was on target, so he couldn't do much more than get it on target. Right at the end of the first half, that would have been a lovely 2-goal cushion. Who knows what kind of game we would have got in the second half. We might have sat back a little bit. George Savile, I've written down here, charge of the Savile Brigade in that Challenger. It was a bit of a quixotic kind of Pyrrhic idea, as you so wonderfully describe it there, Lawrence. We're going to pay a price for it, like we did with the old Charge of the Light Brigade. We paid a bit of a price for that, didn't we, all those years ago? But we're going to pay a 3-game suspension penalty for the Charge of the Savile Brigade there. But anyway, good character performance, as you so rightly put it, Lawrence. Big thank you, Lawrence Binney. Let's go now to, we're going through Matt alphabetical, so it's all first name alphabetical, so it's now going to be Matt Richards, then we'll follow that with Matt Webb.
Hello, Nick. Matt Richards, driving back from tonight's game. Bloody hell, that was some game, wasn't it? Wow. So glad we hung on for those 3 points, because I thought we deserved it. Norwich had a lot of the ball, I know, but I thought we battled so hard. The effort we put in, good bits of skill as well every now and again as well. Some good moves. We just and fucking hell, that officiating tonight was just. I know we moan about it all the time, but the referee didn't have a clue. Did not have a clue. I mean, sending off Sav, straight reds. How Hutch and Cooper got yellow cards when Barnes got nothing. I mean, it was just awful. I mean, in a way, it probably helped us the officiating, because it got the crowd more so on the referee's back, and probably added to the atmosphere. The atmosphere was brilliant tonight. So that in a funny sort of way, it may have helped. But yeah, just so pleased we got the 3 points, another clean sheet. I thought we defended so well, and I was a bit worried coming into today because I know we've had a couple of clean sheets, but that's against like lesser teams. Norwich are a good team, but we just defended so solidly. Sarkic barely had to make it. I mean, there's one tip over, I think, and there's a couple of scarum moments towards the end, but they didn't really put us in too much trouble, despite the possession they had. I thought we were really good on the counter. Idemo and Norton Cuffy, their pace is a real danger. Was a real danger to Norwich, and we were unlucky really with a couple of chances. Idemo going through and having a shot. Norton Cuffy obviously should have scored second half. I don't know, he was in probably 2 minds, never mind 2 minds, probably 3 or 4 minds really, and just scuffed it. Great shot by Longman. Zian probably should have scored in the first half, but I thought it was a decent shot really. Bear in mind he was in it first time. Cliff made a good save, but just buzzing really, Nick, because that was just a really good, exciting Millwall performance, and that's what we want, don't we? Particularly under the lights at the Den. So that's great, and tonight also is a nice bit of rotation as well. Hopefully, I'm guessing with Brian not playing, Fleming coming in, giving Watmore a bit of a rest, and it'll be interesting to see what team he plays Monday against Bristol City. But buzzing. That was brilliant. That was great tonight. Really happy with that. A man of the match. I see they gave it to Honeyman. I wouldn't argue with that. I thought it was great. I mean, I think he definitely centre mid is his best position. He's on the ball. He's always looking to play a positive pass. Slightly different to perhaps Billy, who maybe needs to think a bit more about it and play it a bit more safer. I wouldn't argue with Honeyman, but I thought Murray Wallace was immense, absolutely immense down that left-hand side. Just superb. I know he comes in for a lot of criticism, but criticism's about his pace. His skill and desire is just second to none. He's a proper Millwall player. So, Honeyman or Muzzer. So, that's it. Cheers, Nick. On to Bristol City. Come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. Matt Webb here. First and foremost, huge congratulations on your news. The Webb family are sending their warm wishes and regards, and I hope all is well. On to the game last night. I'll tell you what, Millwall's home results are a bit like London buses. You wait ages for one, and then two come along in quick succession. Joe Edwards, I think last night, got it right with what resources he's got. Bearing in mind this is the third game in 6 days, and fatigue would have taken its toll on some of the players, and you probably could see that in relation to having Harding out with a slight muscle injury, who I'm led to believe will be back for Bristol, so that rest for that lad is good. Hutch comes in, had my doubts, had my reservations when he came in, but he did absolutely everything what Hutch normally does, so I'm so pleased with him on that one. It was going to be a tough game. It was going to be a tough game. Norwich like past possessional football. That's Wagner for you. All right. And I think, yes, there was a few rumbles. There was more than a few rumbles on about putting the press on them to make sure that they don't go forward with the ball. But you know what? We were so patient in our play. We were so disciplined in our back lines that, they had one shot, one clear chance on goal, Nick. And, and even that was just a tip over. So, yes, it can be frustrating on the eye. But bloody hell, we did it so well. And you've got to remember, this is a team that, some of the players are not what Joe Edwards wants. Let's be honest. He wants more. He does want more creativity. He wants to be on the front foot more. So he can't do nothing. His hands are tied until he starts getting his own additions in. So he made use of what he's got at the moment, his resources. And I think they done the gaffer proud last night, if I'm honest with you. And to be honest, it could have been 3-0. You know, Fleming's shot in the first half. Okay, I personally think of a man of his quality, he should have done better, but still a good save by Gunn. Came out and tipped it round. Longman's shot was going in, another good save. Cuffy, on another day, he would have headed that ball better. So that could have been 4. And so, you know, that was a fantastic counter-attacking Millwall performance last night. Man of the match was Honeyman, absolutely. 100%. He did not stop. He was in the opposition's faces. He was winding them up, especially that Muppet Barnes, who basically can come out of Jake Cooper's pocket now, and I think that's why he was getting a bit ratty. You know, you come away from that game last night thinking fantastic, like just sense of optimism, and again, more breathing space away from that bottom 3. 8 points now, plus the goal difference, 9 points. I keep on going on about it. I'm going to keep on going on about it until I feel where we can start looking up as opposed to looking down. Savills, red card, unfortunately it was. You know, you do take those tackles for the team, you know, tactical fouls, but that's if you slide in. And unfortunately, Saville chopped the player right in front of the ref's nose. And I think I don't think he gave the ref no choice. Albeit that I don't go on about referees too much, but he definitely had the big club syndrome. That's for certain last night. So onwards and upwards, you know, we wrap up 2023 on a high, which is fantastic. And as I said, coming out of Christmas now, unbeaten, and to be fair, 3 clean sheets, you can't ask for more, really. I knew it was going to take time for Edwards. I can start seeing those green shoots are starting to sprout a little bit more. Okay, eventually you're going to start seeing some flowers come through. So let's hope that comes along in January. So we've got a trip on New Year's Day, got a trip to Bristol. Not going to be easy, but if we can maintain our discipline, and there'll be some more changes, I feel that, you know, we can go into the FA Cup game with a sigh of relief. Well, with that, we're in a better position as we were prior to Christmas. Saying that, we've got another heavy month ahead. Borough at home, opportunity to get more points on the board. Preston at home, opportunity. QPR away. Another January is a big month, huge month, but I think it's going to be a huge month for most teams. And it just, for me, 2024 under Joe Edwards is going to look a bit more brighter than 2023. Anyway, I'm going to wish you all a happy new year, and I'll toast to everyone on Achtung Millwall, and I wish you all the very best. Won't be doing no voice notes now until the Borough game due to commitments, so I'll be missing a few games. So come on, you Lions.
Huge thank you to Matt. Happy New Year to you, mate, as well. And thank you for the contributions, the voicemails you've sent in so far. Matt's news he was talking about. I've joined the grandfather club this week. What a week it's been for me. And in amongst, obviously Millwall's form picking up a little bit. My daughter had my first grandchild. So I'm their granddad, Nick. So big thank you to Matt for that. What a week it's been. The two Matts there, Matt Richards and Matt Webb, 2 on the spin. I do agree that it took there was a good atmosphere on Friday night, but it took the pantomime villain Ashley Barnes to, like David Bowie once sang, you throw the gasoline on the fire, putting out fire with a gasoline. I was trying to think also, when was the last great midweek Millwall performance? For a long while now, too long. Midweek football's always been a bit of a dead zone, isn't it, listeners? If we do get a decent game, it's normally been on a Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoff. So that was quite refreshing. Agree completely about fatigue, Matt Webb. Fatigue taking its toll. I think that we are a small squad, and let's see what improvements, changes that Joe Edwards makes in the forthcoming month. Now it's January the 1st on Monday. Opening of the transfer window. Let's see what Let's see what kind of quality he brings in. I mean, I think that there were clearly, as you rightly put it, Matt Webb, green shoots are recovering. I like that phrase. And it's great to see some of our older school players responding to the challenge, because that was a wonderful performance Saturday night. We're going to play out now with Michael Avery, followed up by Rob Abbott. Take it away, Michael.
Well, good morning, dear listeners. This is Michael Avery here, the morning after yesterday's fantastic win over Norwich City in the Championship. Firstly, absolutely delighted for Joe Edwards now that we're actually getting a run of results that I think he deserves. When we went through that barren run of results and performances, I did feel quite sorry for him as he was trying to achieve something. He was obviously new in the job, and he just needed that little bit of time and patience. And, you know, it was frustrating, but I think, to be fair, it was given to him. And, you know, three clean sheets in a row, 2 wins and a draw from the last 3 is really, really good. So fair play to him. Good luck to Joe Edwards. Secondly, what a night last night it was. I think the referee helped make the game a bit more panto-villain than it should have been. But I thought it was a very, very good and mature performance by Millwall. We could quite easily have fell into a trap of playing some silly beggars with Norwich City when they were clearly losing their rag. I know Millwall had a lot of yellow cards, and obviously George Savile had his red, which I'll touch on shortly. But Norwich were really trying everything to rile up Millwall and get worked up, but it wasn't working and they were getting more worked up with it. I did think for the opening 15-20 minutes Norwich probably were the better side. I thought they knocked the ball around quite nicely, but then after that, when they realised that they couldn't break down our play, they seemed to run out of ideas, which was nice to see for a change. Another team running out of ideas, and we just patiently waited for our opportunity. Didn't rush anything, played a good, mature, sensible game, and then bang, we get the goal. Atmosphere was fantastic, so well done to the Millwall fans who came out and made it what it was. It was a really, really enjoyable occasion. And what I really like as well is I know there's some people on our pod who have called in who have mentioned about whether we need to harness and use the Den. I love the fact that, you know, after the last few games, Edwards is going around fist pumping the crowd, you know, like really making a point of going to the crowd first and sort of obviously thanking them for their support. But in his post-match interviews as well, really saying how important the crowd are. And it seems genuine, you know, it does seem genuine. Savile's red card, the elephant in the room. Was it a red card? I didn't see it in real time. I was following the direction of the ball, so I saw the reaction, and then obviously Savile get a red card, and he was quite distraught. Looking back, it's a tough one because from the side-on angle, it doesn't look like a red card, but from the behind-the-goal angle, which I've seen as well, it is quite a lunge. It is in the middle of the park, and it is in a space where you wouldn't expect red cards to be given straight away, but it was quite a lunge, it was quite late, and it was malicious. So it is the cliche, have you seen them given? Not a lot, but you can't overly argue it. I think it will be appealed. But, you know, Savile just seemed quite distraught by it all. But I think as well, to be fair to George Savile, he's been really, really good since he's come back in after Rowett had him in his little exodus of not being involved, but he has seemed quite erratic recently. You know, he gave away the handball against Huddersfield, which could have seen us obviously, or which did see them come back into the game. He did that lunge against QPR, which was a good tackle, it turned out, but, you know, it was in the middle of the penalty box and it was a bit of a lunge and it could have been another penalty. And again, he's got sent off today, so that's 3 quite big things he's done in games where, you know, maybe could he have been a bit more sensible. But, you know, he's been playing well recently, Savile can't knock it. And final thing I want to say as well is fair play to George Honeyman. I think since he's gone really into that centre midfield position, he's been an absolute standout. The game before against QPR, Emarku got man of the match. I thought Emarku had a great game, but I thought George Honeyman deserved man of the match. And yesterday, for me, yes, Murray Wallace had a really, really good game, but for me personally, George Honeyman, hands down, was the best player on the pitch for Millwall. Head and shoulders the best player on the pitch for Millwall, in my opinion. And rightly deserves his plaudits. And you can see why he's keeping sort of Billy Mitchell's out the side. Yeah, that's it really from me. Final thing, I just want to say Happy New Year to all listeners. who have been listening to the pod. For those who've been coming up to me or messaging me saying they agree with what I say, thank you very much. For those who don't agree with what I'm saying, thank you very much. Not going to take it too personally. I like some of the interaction I'm getting online. And also a shout out to Mr. Hart. Not only has he been nominated for the podcast award, the name escapes me, sorry Nick, and I hope the judges aren't listening and we don't get pulled for it, but also Nick has a new grandchild, so congratulations Nick on the birth of the new family member, and I hope we get a quite sensible name shortly. Lurch could be there if you're stuck, but no, congratulations Nick, and happy new year to everyone who listens to the pod.
Nick, how we doing? Rob Abbott here. First off, hopefully you had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. Best wishes for 2024. And then, wow, still absolutely buzzing. What a performance. What a win. And what an atmosphere. I'm not too sure when the Den was last like that. Pretty hostile in the second half. Ref against us. Norwich being a complete bunch of wankers. And yeah, screw you lads. Unlucky. Thought we were absolutely immense off the ball there. Norwich created very little for the whole evening. We were really compact. They were looking for runners from the deep, but yeah, didn't really threaten. I thought we were outstanding, especially the back five. Hutch, Coop, reeling in the years there. But my standout at the back, I think Murray Wallace was superb. I know he gets a lot of stick every now and then on social media, but he always gives 100%. And then tonight, not only did we get the 100% from him, we got a brilliant performance on and off the ball from him. But like I said, all the back five were absolutely brilliant. And then the other thing I think I got to mention is on the counter-attack, the transition. I thought we were so dangerous. We had pace. We threatened a lot. We scored a brilliant goal from it. We had numerous other chances from it. So, great performance, great victory. And onwards and upwards. What's that? It's 4 unbeaten, 3 clean sheets in a row. On to Bristol City. I'm looking at how far we're off in the playoffs. Forgetting the bottom 3 at the moment. Am I being too optimistic? But I think we're finally seeing the Joe Edwards style come out. People beginning to know their roles, and there's a togetherness there. Obviously, you could see that at the end. Absolute brilliant. But love that. Oh yes, still buzzing. Sort of lost for words. Last one I will say though is, what the fuck was the ref on? He completely lost it. I have no idea what he was doing. And how was Ashley Barnes still on that pitch? I think the Norwich coach did the right thing to sub him, but he should have been sent off a few times before he got subbed off. There we go. All the best, mate.
Huge thank you, Michael, and then Rob, for those 2 closing messages on today's show. I'll tell you what, Rob, I've decided I'm no longer looking downwards in the table, mate. I'm looking upwards. I'm going to look at we're now 10 points off the playoffs. I know there's a lot of there's a big, huge peloton between us and the top 6, but let's get optimistic. I'm in an optimistic frame of mind, as Michael also said. I'm over the moon with my grandparent new status as a grandparent. So it's been a good week for me personally. It's been a great week for Millwall. And there's a real buzz about the place now, listeners. So let's make 2024 a better year. 2023 was a bit of a dull vintage overall, but what a way to finish it off. I want to say a big thank you to Michael Avery and Rob Abbott for those 2 minutes. I want to say thank you to all of the contributors to this show and to the other shows. I want to say thank you to all the boys that helped me with the podcast. I really enjoy having such a wide range of voices and views and opinions. It makes it really, really interesting to produce. I enjoy producing. I'm going to carry on producing it for as long as my voice holds out. You've got to tell me, listeners, if I'm starting to lose the plot, if I'm starting to sound like I'm no longer the voice I used to be. You keep me informed. But I want to say Happy New Year to every single Millwall fan listening to this show. Let's hope for a really strong 2024. After Friday night, I'm starting to feel that Joe Edwards' potential is there for us, waiting for, who knows where 2024 is going to lead. There's still a lot of football to be played this season, dear listeners. Let's close today's voicemail show, with the answer to our punditgames.co.uk question. This is a Tottenham legend who managed 37 goals in the Premier League alongside 68 assists. He got known as Sick Note because he was persistently injured. Played 30 times for England, scoring 7 goals. It was, of course, good player. I liked him. Darren Anderson, Sick Note. There we go, listeners. Big thank you to everyone involved with the show, and for you too for listening to it. I'll be doing a little tot up of the charity donations that we can make after the new year, but for tonight, it's New Year's Eve. I may treat myself to a grandfatherly tipple of Jameson with some lime and ginger like they advertise at the Dings. I've been fancying that for a long time. Till the next edition, which should probably be tomorrow, just be a short one tomorrow after the Bristol game. Till then, though, dear listeners, Happy New Year. Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.